A presidential team led by the Secretary to the Government of the Federation, Senator George Akume, faced a hostile crowd during the Tiv Day celebrations in Benue State. Prof. Iyorwuese Hagher, a member of the delegation, said the group was met with chants of "No Alia, no Benue," disrupting their attempt to deliver President Tinubu's message. The delegation, which included top federal officials and Tiv leaders, had to leave both Makurdi Airport and the Gboko venue due to rising tensions. A youth was reportedly stabbed during the chaos. I'm now being joined by Senator Iyorwuese Hagher, former High Commissioner to Canada and Ambassador to Mexico. Thank you for joining us, Prof.
Thanks for having me, and welcome to Abuja.
One would think that, a day like the Tiv Day, which was supposed to be a day of celebration, would have just been that. What went wrong?
I believe that everything went wrong.
When you say everything, what would you, how?
Yes, because it's not as if I would want to do an anatomy of the events before or after or the planning. I have no problem with that. What went wrong was basically a moral ecology which has been developing in the state, and not just the state. It has enveloped this country to such a level that if an elder like me does not speak about it, then we will be normalizing bad behavior. And when you normalize a bad ecology, then that becomes the normal. And what we saw was a systematized disrespect to the office of the president, who was represented by the Secretary to the Government of the Federation,
who was a former governor of the state,
who was a 2 times governor of that state, who was a 3 times senator in that state, who was a minister representing that state, and today holds the position of Secretary to the Government of the Federation. And if you look at the executive arm of government, that is the first appointment that the president made when he took power, because the position of the Secretary of Government is significant, not just because of that position, but also because the present occupant of that seat happened to have been a friend of the president. They were governors together. They were founders of the party together. They have been together for a long time. So sending him to his people on this very important day was a show of solidarity by the president, and his message was so resonant. He was actually going down memory line and praising the Tiv people for their contribution to national development and to the unity of this country. It was a beautiful message. But from the beginning, there was a different narrative being developed, which is that bad moral ecology, which made me to talk about it.
Because you said from the beginning there was something else that appeared contrary to what you were there to do, deliver a good message, a resonant message from the president. Now, you've used this phrase a couple of times, moral ecology.
Yes.
It's like it's gone. It's wearing out or worn out. The moral status of, is that what you're implying? That the level of respect and morality in the society is almost eroded?
I am saying that every government, every leadership, and I've been teaching leadership for a while now, and I do know that every leader has a responsibility to develop a moral ecology for his people. It determines the way in which the leadership is able to couch respect, truthfulness, dignity, a moral ecology determines the way in which the leaders teach or show an example of how society can live together. Government can apply, provide for the people, but the people themselves need to build a good society. And to build a good society, you have to evolve a moral ecology, which
Prof,
if it is good, the society is happy. If it is bad, everybody is upset, and the bad
Prof,
behavior...
Would the development of that moral ecology be rested on one individual?
No.
Being the governor? Or it has to be at different levels of development? Knowing that within a state, for instance, we have different levels of leadership.
Everybody within the society must come together, but somebody at the top must weave. A moral ecology is woven by various sectors of the society, and it rests on an evolution of a culture that makes the people believe in themselves, believe in respecting one another, believe in developing a goodness, determine what is good or bad. But when society makes the bad the norm, and much of what is happening in the country today is normalizing bad behavior, when thugs, when killing, when massive amount of people are in IDP camps, we have normalized it. It's not an aberration anymore. So society must know that certain things should not be tolerated, and bad behavior should not be tolerated. Incivility should not be tolerated. Disrespect should not be tolerated. So, in that case, society evolves into decency, and everybody is happy.
So, Prof, this conversation right now, I'm tempted to take it out of, not to limit it to Benue State.
No,
but to take it across the country.
Across the country, if you will.
The moral ecology, the eroding moral ecology is across the country. And then some will say it's a product of the example set by the elders.
Leadership. Not elders per se, because elders in certain societies where elders are respected, then the elders have an onus to lead by example. If we, the elders, have shown such bad behavior, then we should be held responsible. But if a new set of leaders over the years dethrone the elders and set up new rules and regulations that are inimical to a good society, it means they are determining their own moral ecology. They are determining the way they dress, the way they speak, how they dismiss others as non-people, how they set up a society being in a combative mode. Instead of cooperation, is competition and combat. So across the country, yes, there's a situation which the country needs to build an ecology of unity. First and foremost, tribalism is a bad ecology. It is, my tribe is bigger than yours, our own is better than your own. And so there's an issue of a moral rearmament that is needed in this country. And our responsibility as elders is to point it out any times, anywhere it takes place. If you are quiet about it, if you don't talk about it, it means you are accessory to it and you have acceded to it.
Okay, Prof, permit me to ask you to just step back a bit and give us if you can, a vivid account of what happened on that day, as briefly as possible, how it impacts on the reputation of Benue and the nation as a whole.
Well, what I am trying to say is that anywhere there is an occasion for festivity, an occasion for cultural revival, an occasion for happiness and effervescence in the cultural mood, it's a place to be happy. It's a place to build community. It's a place where we can relate to one another, because when we don't build relationships, we stay as silos. And people who are in government, the opportunity that society has to come face to face with them and treat them as human beings is that collective effervescence during festivals like the one that we had. So at that occasion, all positions should have been
put aside,
opened up to society. They were giving chieftaincy titles to some people too on that day, and some were not given chieftaincy titles. But those who were not given chieftaincy were also coming to rejoice with their brothers and a sister who was to be so honored. So it's an occasion where you respect, at the same time you open up. So if the president is coming, you give him an acceptance of his position and allow him his position, give him an appropriate seat. If he has a delegation, make sure the delegation is properly set, make sure they are properly met at their entry point, not met with insults and hooligans shouting.
All right, Professor, we would have to let it hang here for now. I want to thank you so much. Senator Iyorwuese Hagher is a former High Commissioner to Canada and Ambassador to Mexico. Thank you for coming in. And we do hope that this matter of moral ecology can find a way around it, not just across the country, from the youngest to the oldest,
the country
get around to rebuilding our country.
To create a new moral ecology.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you for coming.
Thank you indeed.
Thank you.